Hi, in this video, this is lesson 5, and we're going to talk about taking a table and writing the table as percents. So here we begin. Here we go. I've recreated the table that we've used in our previous notes of modes of transportation and gender, and these are the same numbers that we have used in some of the other examples and in some of the homework problems. So today what we're going to do is we have two lessons or two activities. The first one is down here. Number 1 is we're going to write percents by gender, and then we're going to make another table and we're going to write percents by transportation. So let's take a look. We'll start with number 1. Now I've already set this up, and down here I have a completely empty table, and you may want to stop the video and create an empty table as well so you can work along, or you can watch and then try it again. Try it after the video, whatever way you find suits your learning best. Now, when we talk about gender, we're going to be using the totals. We're going to be using the totals that are found in the total of the males and the total of the females. So to write percentages for males, we're going to be looking at the percentage of males that drive cars, percentage of males that drive trucks, percentage of males that drive SUVs or minivans, and the percentage of males that use other modes of transportation. And then we'll do the same for females. So let's begin. So notice that right off the bat, for the cars, we have 13 males that drive out of the 20 that drive a car. So our first calculation is that. And I'll write the whole thing, and that's, remember we had 13 out of 20 males, but we said that that's the same as 13 divided by 20. And if we want it as a percentage, well, we can just multiply by 100%. It only changes the appearance, not the value. And if we do that, we come up with an answer of 65%. And so I will show you this. We'll go to Good Grapher here in a moment. We'll take a look. So 13 20ths. So in Good Grapher, we could go 13. We would divide it by 20. And then we could multiply it by 100. And there's our answer, 65%. Okay, so let's return back here. And we'd say that 65% of the males drive cars. Then the truck calculation was 1 out of the 20 males. And so we said that's the same as 1 divided by 20 multiplied by 100%. And if we do all that, put that in your calculator, you come up with 5%. And then if we come up and we look above, notice now for SUVs and males we have 5. So this is going to be 5 20ths, or 5 divided by 20. So we'll come down here, we'll have 5 divided by 20 times 100%, which is going to be 25% of our males drive an SUV or minivan. And finally, the other category is also, let's see, oh, that's 1. Here we have others is 1, and we've already done 1/20th in our calculation for trucks, so we know that others is 5%. Now let's add these up. 65 plus 5 is 70. 70 plus 25 is 95. 95 plus 5 more, that's 100%. Okay. Now we're going to go a little bit quicker, but now we're going to do the exact same process for the females. And so when we work on this for the females, we will take, again, everything is going to be based out of the 30 here. So our first calculation would be 25 30ths of the females, which is the same as 25 divided by 30. So let's begin with that. So for the females, we have 25 divided by the 30, multiply it by the 100%, and let's go to Good Grapher and check that. We come up with 25 divided by 30, and we want to multiply it by 100%, or just 100, and we'll put the percent. So we have, and we'll take this to the nearest tenth of a percent. So that rounds to 83.3%. Okay. So we have 83.3% percentage of our females that drive a car. And we'll continue this. If we look up above, we have 2 out of the 30 females. So we would take 2 divided by the 30, multiply it by 100%, and the result is 6.7%. 6.7%. And then continuing this, we have 3 out of 30, that's 10%. And 0 out of 30 is 0%. And if we add these up, 83.3 plus 6.7 is 90%, plus 10 more is 100%, plus 0 is still 100%, and that's our desired result. Now, take a moment and let's add our column totals that will go in our bottom row. So if we add these together, this is going to be, let's see, 65 plus 83.3, that's 148.3%. The next one is 11.7%, and the next one is 35%, and finally 0% plus 5% is 5%. Now, before we worry any more about totals, here's what we want to see. And we'll do this in our green. How about blue highlighter? Because this row right here, the bottom row, this doesn't really mean anything. And so in this problem, we don't even need that row. It's not necessary. But the part of the table that we do want, the good part of this table, is the part where we get the 100%. And so when we're talking about this table in terms of gender, really all we had to do is just worry about this part of the table. So we've done that. That purple, I'm sorry, that really is difficult to see. So let's go by orange work, or how about yellow? That's the most traditional highlighting color. So what we really wanted is this yellow table. And that would be our final result. I'm going to put a tick mark. We've got our check mark. We have percents by gender. Now, let's go to step 2, and that's to make a table based on percents by transportation. So I've already pre-made my table. Here it is. But now the calculations change. And by now you may not be surprised, but let's go through and look at this. So to make our calculations based on type of transportation, what we're going to be doing is saying, look, there's 38 cars total. And 13 of those are driven by males, 25 of those are driven by females. And so now our denominator is the 38. So let's make those calculations down below. So I would say for the males, I have 13 38ths, which is 13 divided by 38. I'd multiply it by 100%. And I've already done that for you. The result is that 34.2% of cars are driven by males. And the females are 25 out of 38. So that would be 25 divided by 38 times that by 100%. And what we find is that 65.8% of females, I'm sorry, 65.8% of cars are driven by females. And if we add these up, we go 2 plus 8, that's a 0. We carry the 1, that becomes 5 plus 5, that's 0. We carry the 1 again. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 6 is 10. And look at that, we get 100%. And now from here, we'll continue this process. Now if we look at trucks, if we look at our trucks, we have 3 trucks total in our survey. 1 of those trucks driven by a male, 2 by a female. So if we come down here, our trucks is 1 divided by 3 times 100%. It gives us a 33.3%, and it gives us a 66.7%. 100%. And that came from 2 divided by 3 times 100%. And then you should pause the video at this point, try the last 4 calculations, and see what you get. And it should match what I'm going to write here. So pause the video, try the last few calculations, and let's see what you get. All right, so you're back. I have values of 62.5%. And for females, we have 37.5%. And again, that totals to 100%, just like this previous column did. And for other, I have 100%. And I have 0%. And that totals to 100%. Now, if I add the rows, notice that when I add these across, I come up with 230%. And I come up with 170% if I add up the second row. Well, these numbers don't make sense in this case. So now, let's take a look. So if you're calculating percentages by transportation, then the resulting table is the one here I'm going to outline, is this table. As a matter of fact, you really just don't even need to write that column. It is of no value. It doesn't make any sense. And so that's what you want. You're only concerned about either the columns being 100% or, in the previous example, the rows. And it really just depends upon how you set up your table. All right, that's how we convert tables to percents based on some kind of a classification. In the next video, we're going to understand, well, how do we use this information and what does it really mean? Hope that helps. Thanks for watching.